Hello, it's Cam. Welcome back to my camcorder footage. Today we are going to be watching White of the Eye. Why, you may ask? Well, simply because I liked the title of this movie. Alrighty, so we're jumping right into it. White of the Eye, it came out in 1987. It starts out with the typical murder scene that all slasher movies start with. Right off the bat, the very first woman we see, she's got this sexy ass outfit. And that just lets you know that all the ladies' outfits in this movie are absolutely gorgeous. Of course, we follow this woman home from doing her shopping, and there's a killer waiting there for her. He's already got a goldfish drowning in marinated steak. Anyways, so he murders her, leaves a bunch of blood everywhere, smashes the kitchen up, it's all ruined and destroyed.
Push the wrong damn button.
Murders of two wealthy housewives. Homicide Detective Mendoza had no comment for us.
Alrighty, and then we meet Joan, our beautiful, gorgeous main female of the movie. She's a mom.
I socked him in the back.
Danielle, honey, you can't keep going around socking people in the back. It's not right. It's stupid. It's antisocial.
And we see that she takes her role as a mother very seriously, teaching her kid a thing or two about life.
Antisocial would be if Mommy grabbed your cookie cutter and chopped up all your cookies and threw them on the ground. That's antisocial. Okay, you understand? And you're not gonna do it again? Okay.
Paul is a sound technician, and he claims to have a special sense in his sinuses to know exactly where to install the speakers in the sound system.
Okay, horn-loaded tweeters there, and there. And all the bass out this end.
We see Joan and Paul all romantic, and then they fuck. This lets us know that even though they're married, they still have a very fulfilled and happy sex life.
Or the brutal slaying last March of Mrs.
We then see the investigators investigating the crime scene from the very first murder. They see everything all torn apart. And he doesn't think it's a coincidence that everything is laid out so beautifully, the way the blood is spattered, and they say that it looks like art.
I do a goddamn work of art when I see one. Didn't you ever look at a Picasso, Lucas?
Picasso my ass.
They even make note that the murderer took a shower in the house.
Son of a bitch took a shower.
Joan and Paul are canoodling, and Paul mentions, "Hey, you remember Mike? Ever think about him?" Joan brushes it off. "Oh, no, I don't think about him. He's in the past." So we get a sense that Mike is an important ex of hers, and clearly Paul can't get Mike out of his mind.
Yeah, right, Mike who?
That's history, baby. God, we were so lost.
We see a flashback of Mike driving in the car, singing along to the song, "You Sexy Thing." And Joan rips the tape out and pours soda on it.
You fucking put the tape in its case, man. You're killing it.
Sure.
Jesus. And use a fucking ashtray, will you, Joni? It's right there.
All right, already. I'm using it.
No, man. Jesus Christ. God damn it.
Oh,
What the hell's wrong
I'm
with you, Joni?
sorry.
In the flashback, Joan goes immediately to Paul, the sound system guy, to repair Mike's 8-track for her.
You can fix her.
Hey, Joan, you can fix it, no problem.
Great, we're in luck.
Yeah, hey, I was born lucky, I swear to God.
So with the introduction of Mike, and knowing he's, a close ex of hers, I'm like, oh, suspect number one? Very suspicious circumstance to be in a horror movie and to be somebody's ex. Then it's the present day, and Paul is driving through this beautiful, rich neighborhood in Arizona. It's the same rich neighborhood where the woman from the first scene was murdered. Well, he's just right next door and sees all the police in the neighborhood, but he's allowed through because he's there on business.
Well, I'm installing some stereo equipment at Dr. Sutter's.
Dr. Sutter's is all right. I can let you go over there.
Is this the murder that I saw on TV last night?
Unfortunately, it is.
Well, he doesn't notice this yet, but the investigator is there, and he's watching Paul. And so we can already tell that Paul is our second suspect of the movie. He's clearly the suspect that the investigators are weary of. So the investigator, strikes up a conversation with Paul, asks him a few questions.
Do you still hunt?
No. Why?
Well, I heard you had quite a reputation. Very heavy into hunting.
Well, yeah, I used to, but I quit when I got married. My wife, women are.
Yeah.
The investigator mentions the tire tracks, and we learn Paul has the exact same tire as the tracks that were left at the crime scene just next door. Very suspicious.
Now, the company has all the customers on a floppy disk, so you could say we're in luck. Only a few sets in the state so far.
What are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say those are like fingerprints. Fresh fingerprints.
He goes away a little uneasy, but not feeling like he's in any deep waters or anything. Then we see a shot of Joan and her daughter Danielle at the most gorgeous indoor pool. It's fabulous. I mean, what a hot MILF mommy taking her kid to go swimming here. While Paul is driving home from work, he has another flashback about Mike, of all people. And in this flashback, we see Mike and him talking guns like men do. When I saw this scene, I was like, maybe Paul's thinking the same way I am. Maybe Paul is thinking about his friend Mike, thinking about the guns, and wondering if Mike is guilty.
His gun's a motherfucker. It's a fucking deadly weapon, man. It's Italian.
There's this adorable scene of their beautiful German Shepherd dog. We see that their dog is well trained and knows how to do a good little trick. But we're watching a horror movie, you guys. Don't forget that.
Skittish. Yeah.
Spoiler alert, the dog don't make it. Back at the crime scene, we see that the investigators have discovered that in the blood spatter and arranged objects, there is markings, for like a compass. They think that this is a symbol that the serial killer must leave behind at all of his crime scenes. Something like that. It's significant, okay?
What we have here, Phil, it's an ancient Indian compass. Now, this goes back before the Vikings. This is a 4 directions. That's what the Indians call it, okay? Now, I want you to take this and shove it up your floppy orifice, okay, Phil? Thank you, I will.
At a local diner, Paul is getting a bite to eat. He's all buddy-buddy with the store owner, Fred. Fred mentions that there is a lady who is calling for him, needs him to come and do maintenance on her sound system. Fred insinuates that maybe it's not maintenance this woman wants after all.
You made your bet, pal.
Jesus, you kids.
I explained to Joni nothing happened up there. Nothing.
He thinks that Paul has been cheating on Joan. But, Paul denies it, and he's like, no, there's nothing like that going on. But I am gonna sober up and go over there. Joan goes to stop at this little gas station in the middle of nowhere. She hears him singing that song.
I believe in miracles.
She follows the sound and finds her old ex-boyfriend, Mike.
Mike?
He's a mechanic there, just kind of bumming around. Has this big scar on his face because he fell down in New York. And it's clear that Joan still really feels for him, and she feels bad for him.
I knew you'd come by, Joan. Sooner or later. I
I swear to God, I saw it all up here in this television set.
She's like, Mike, is there anything I can do? Anything at all I can do for you? And he's like, well, there is one thing. Don't tell Paul you saw me. Don't you tell him.
I always loved you, Joni. And then he came along and he laid his eye on us. The Apaches call it the white of the eye, Joan, when he laid on you and me.
Then we see Paul at the rich lady's house who wanted him to do maintenance for her. Well, the diner man Fred was right. She didn't want no maintenance. She wanted to seduce him. And you know, he's playing the whole, oh no, don't, but still enjoying every minute of it. So yeah, it's true. Paul's been cheating on Joan. When Paul comes home late, the lie he tells Joan is, I had to see a guy in Tucson. Well, Joan doesn't look too happy. You know, she seems very annoyed and doesn't seem to be believing the Tucson lie. She's like, so, did you remember to pick up my frying pans at least while you were gone so late? And he's like, oh, no, sorry, sweetie. I didn't. And I'm just like, come on, dude, you're cheating on her and you forget her frying pan? Dude, it's not just one frying pan either. It was like a bunch of frying pans.
No, baby, I'm sorry. Forgot.
Great. Now I'm cooking with 1 pound.
Very bad cheater. Very bad. And we have this really odd shot where like Paul's cop friend comes over and they're talking about the tire tracks, cracking some jokes.
You can take that psychoanalyzing and shove it.
Analyzing?
Never heard him talk like that.
Well, the cop goes to use the bathroom and he's like so gross and nasty in the bathroom. He takes like her perfume powder and puts it on his armpits. Ew. Then we see Joan and Paul have really hot romantic sex. Well, during their sex, Paul is having some flashbacks about Mike again. I'm like, oh my God, Paul. Like, it's not just jealousy. That's not why you're so hung up on Mike. Just be honest. You love Mike. And you're so gay for Mike, Paul. Just admit it. Oh, and after sex, Joan immediately tells Paul that she saw Mike today. I get it. They're married and there's no secrets between them or whatever. But come on. That was Mike's one request. Not to tell Paul. What does she do? She tells Paul. We see a scene where Joan is talking to her friend.
I wonder how much makeup she bought today. Oh, you're so bad.
She has this bit where she complains about her hairstylist because she has a terrible haircut. Well, really, her hair looks pretty good if you ask me. But yeah, she's like, everybody wants to look like, oh, I just put 2 and 2 together. Okay. This is actually a really significant scene in retrospect because Joan is over here really pissed off, shit talking to her friend. She's like,
God, what is it around here? Is everybody trying to look like Ann Mason or what? Well, it's the fashion. It's not the fashion, it's the Ann Mason look-alike contest.
So she had her reasons for hating Ann Mason's hair all along because Ann Mason is the one that's been fucking her husband. Ooh, then ring ring, meow meow, it's me. Paul is getting another little seductive call from his rich sound system clientele, mommy Ann. He's like, no, I'm not gonna come over there. She's like, oh really? I'm sitting in a hot, bubbly bath all by myself. She's not sitting in a hot, bubbly bath, you know. She's just trying to dirty talk him into coming over.
It's me and my diamond ring finger, my pouty lips.
And he falls right into that seductive trap. Doesn't take much convincing, does it, for big old heroic, beautiful husband, Paul.
That's an English penny. That'll give you a faithful husband. That's all you gotta do is rub it.
You're gonna rub it anyway.
Then we have the most iconic scene where Joan is driving her pickup truck to Country Boys Can Survive. She's looking badass, driving through Arizona. She goes like a hound and tracks down Paul's bright green van with the big incriminating tire tracks.
Boy can survive.
She's like, "What the fuck are you doing, Paul?" Slashes his tires. He had it coming.
Yeah.
Inside Anne's house, we see the gloved killer pick up Anne and, like a Barbie doll, smash her on her head. So the killer is strong. We know that Paul is strong, and his van is outside Anne's house after all, but we don't get to see who the killer is yet. The killer wraps Anne up in razor-sharp wire and drowns her in the bathtub. And just as the life is dying out of her, he's perverted enough to shove a mirror in her face so she can watch herself die. Paul comes home that evening to a very angry Joan. She's waiting up for him to get home, sitting in the dark. She's onto him.
Give me a break, Paul. When Danielle goes to school tomorrow, I want to talk to you.
Maybe we should talk now, calmly.
You want to cause a scene? I said, we'll have this conversation when Danielle goes to school tomorrow. I don't want her to have to hear what I got to say about you. What?
The very next day, Anne decides to help the investigators because she knows that he's a suspect in all these murders. They have Paul in for questioning, and she's helping catch him in his lies. She's like, "No, you weren't home last night. You were gone, and I saw that you've been cheating on me with Ann Mason. I saw your car at Ann Mason's house last night."
I guess he didn't tell you where he got that flat tire. In front of the local slut's house? I mean, in back of whatever. Certain married lady, and that it was me who let the air out of his tire. You son of a bitch! You think I'm a fucking dumb housewife? Well, I'm not! 'Cause I got you down, asshole! I know your act.
Then we see another flashback, and my suspicions from earlier were confirmed. Jean and Mike used to date, but Jean was cheating on Mike with Paul, and one day Mike caught Jean and Paul having sex, and he aimed his gun at them both, but instead fired off a couple of rounds at a nearby wall. Jean is at home, so sick with her heartbreak about Paul's cheating and all of this mess with the investigators, so she gets sick in the bathroom. She's on the bathroom floor by the toilet, leaning against the wall, whenever she sees a string. She tugs on the string and discovers it's connected to the bathroom cabinets. And on top, she discovers a secret compartment. And inside, you guys, she's very brave. She gets a lighter out, sticks her hand in there, and sees a bunch of human body parts all strung up and bloody. At this point, because she's home alone, panting with shock, I'm kind of like, oh God, Paul is going to be home before she can call the police. That's what's about to happen, But no, she makes it to the phone, and she's just called her friend. I'm like, really? She's just like, "Hey, friend, can you take Danielle tonight? Because, I'm having marital problems, the cheating and all." The friend's like, "Oh my God. Oh yes, honey, I wish, but we're seeing Gone with the Wind, and who knows, how things can be after movies."
Honey, you never know what's going to happen after the movies.
She's like, "Well, promise me you'll call after the movie, Please, just consider taking Danielle." And the friend's like, "All right, hun, I'll give you a call." I'm just like, really? Like, what is she thinking? Putting herself and Danielle in harm's way, because ultimately, we know from calling that one person, her one friend isn't going to take Danielle. So what? Her solution is to just be like, "Oh well, keeping Danielle here for the night, even though I just found a bunch of body parts in my own household." Then we see a scene of her approaching Paul, and she immediately comes clean about the whole body part thing. She doesn't even hesitate, doesn't play it coy so she can escape the house. Nope, she's just like, "I found something in the bathroom, honey."
I found something in the bathroom.
Yeah? What?
Behind the tub in there.
All that.
He immediately knows what she's talking about and pretty much confesses on the spot. His convoluted explanation is, I put her out of her misery. All of them were dead inside already. It's because of Eve. Men always want to blame their bullshit on Eve.
The female of the species is the main reason that evolution is turning out inside out. What about Adam and Eve and the apple? Do you think that's bullshit? That's not bullshit.
So he blames it on Eve. He's like, it's the universe. The black hole is a female. The female black hole. She tells me what to do, and I'm the chosen one. I'm chosen because I hear that voice.
You remember when I told you about that fucking black hole? You remember, Joni? Huh?
I remember it.
Well, if that's not female, I don't know what is.
Okay, so as promised, Joan's friend gives her a call after Gone with the Wind, and this is how Paul discovers Joan's plan to get Danielle out of the house.
I can't believe that you thought I was gonna hurt my own kid.
And he starts being crazy and abusive to his wife. You know, he pulls out a knife, tears up the bed, trashes the house. You know, the mom at some point is screaming in a closet, and he busts into the closet. He's like, you're gonna wake up, Danielle! Like, really? I think she's probably already awake from all of your busting through doors and trashing shit and screaming. I don't believe it's her cries that are gonna wake up the kid. Danielle hears her cue. She's up and at him, awake in the night. Mom? Mommy? She sees through a crack in the door that her dad is strapped up with bombs.
Dad's wearing a bunch of hot dogs.
And he's strapped up with bullets. And he's got a bunch of guns all out everywhere in the household. Their stupid, dumb kid who is so ugly goes up to find her mom locked in the attic. The mom tells Danielle to run away, don't let dad see you, and get help. But no, her dumb kid doesn't want to do that, does she? She wants to go find the key so she can unlock her mommy.
I know where the key is.
No, Danielle, honey, I want you to stop the first car you see. Just stop it.
I'm gonna go get the key.
No, Danielle.
She sneaks around the kitchen like a little mouse, sneakily grabs the keys and runs up to the attic to unlock her mom. Well, the dad saw her and he's chasing after her. The mom quickly pulls the kid inside after she unlocks the door and throws her out the window. The kid falls down just in time as the father is firing his gun outside the door. And I thought for sure the mom was about to get hit by those bullets. And then he realizes that his kid is running and he calls out after her out the window. He's like, run, run, Danielle, run. Meanwhile, he's aiming his gun and shooting at her.
Run, honey.
He actually ends up shooting and killing their poor dog in the process. But luckily, Danielle manages to not get hit by a bullet and runs away. Jean escapes and hops in her old pickup truck.
That's my girl.
And it's car chase time. Every good 80s thriller movie has a car chase sequence. And so she's driving off. I'm like, surely she's driving off to go after her child and pick her up. But nope, no concern for her child at all. Which maybe was purposeful because she didn't want to put the daughter at risk by even being in her own presence. I don't know. I would be worried about the kid if I was Jean. But nope, it's car chase time. So the dad gets in his green van and is tearing up, chasing after her. She drives through this little mining factory tunnel thing that I guess her reasoning might be because she doesn't think he can fit through there. I don't know. He doesn't even bother going through the tunnel because he knows the tunnel is full of old rubbish from the abandoned mining factory. So she crashes the car, gets out, and is hiding.
I got your handbag here. You lost it. I got it for you. I picked it up for you. I'm always picking up after you, aren't I, Joan?
At this point, he looks crazy. He's painted the bottom half of his face red as like warrior paint, I guess, and he's got blood all over his face. Then we get a creepy hide-and-seek chase sequence in this abandoned mine where he's calling out for her and she's trying to hide and get away. But then we see that Mike is there in the abandoned factory with them, and he's got a big old automatic weapon pointed straight at Paul. Flashback time, we see that same hunting trip that Mike and Paul were on earlier. Only this time we see Paul has gone a little crazy, ripping the antlers off the deer and drinking blood. He goes crazy on Mike, pulling out the knife, threatening to kill him. He sets up that same trademark bloody compass thing that he likes to make at all of his murder scenes. Oh, also, on this hunting trip, it gets a little gay when Paul is going crazy because he kisses Mike. Paul, I knew you liked Mike like that. I knew it, I could tell. And that was the day that Mike knew that Paul was crazy. And instead of telling the authorities or telling his ex-girlfriend about her crazy, deranged boyfriend, he kept it a secret. Why? He wanted revenge on her for cheating.
After you fucked him, you know what I told myself? I told myself, fuck the both of them.
Wow, big hero here. Shows up just in time to rescue her, but no, not really. He really only cares about himself and his own revenge on Paul. Mike shoots Paul execution style, but doesn't kill him all the way. Joan feels really bad watching him bleed out. She's like, I'll finish the job.
No way, you bastard! You think I don't know what's going on in your fucking mind?
Paul may be a serial killer, but Mike in some ways like implanted this crazy delusions in his head because they're both kind of talking about the same crazy delusions about, being on TV.
I can see it all in Technicolor.
Talking nonsense, the two of them. They're both fucked up. But sneakily, Paul has already lit the wick for his bombs. And then, he's like, ha ha ha, we're about to explode. And Mike's like, oh no you don't. Shoots him with the automatic weapon. Joan runs and dives into the quarry lake to escape this giant, epic explosion. Like, explosion of all explosions in movies. Rocks are falling down. There's no way Joan could have survived this. But she does, of course. Our final scene is Joan with the investigator. They're drinking coffee, contemplating the sequence of events in life. She's like, 10 years gone to the winds.
What's 10 years? When you're in love.
And fade out. That's the end of the movie. Some things I liked about this movie. There's this really beautiful motif of close-ups on a green eye, before and after flashbacks, or anytime something creepy has happened. I think the director of photography did a fantastic job. I love all the scenic shots. I love the creepy factories. I love the artistic crime scenes. Even like a murder sequence is just done in such a visually stunning way. Some things I didn't like, basically, I just think his whole psychosis thing is a little bit underdeveloped, or his psychotic reasoning behind everything. I know he's like, if he's a crazy guy, he's just a crazy guy, but there's some talk about the white of the eye that I want to understand. I'm gonna give this movie 8 out of 10 80s perms. I liked it. It was artistic, it was beautiful, So thank you for watching. Hope to see you again soon. So just a heads up, I have a Patreon. So if you ever want to support me or my channel, you can check me out there.